The cracked asphalt shimmered under the relentless summer sun, each heat wave distorting the familiar landscape. 4 years. 4 years Charlie had sat by the side of Highway 17, a furry statue of unwavering loyalty. His golden fur, once a vibrant beacon, was now faded and matted, tinged with the dust of countless passing cars. His eyes, though, still held that hopeful gleam, a spark that refused to be extinguished. He was waiting. He wasn't always alone. The hum of the nearby gas station, the squeal of tires, the occasional sympathetic glance from a passing motorist. They were all part of his daily routine. James, a young man with tired eyes and a kind heart, worked at that gas station. He'd noticed Charlie almost immediately, a lonely golden silhouette against the unforgiving roadside. Initially, James kept his distance, just observing from afar. He'd leave a bowl of water and kibble near the edge of the woods, watching as Charlie cautiously approached, ate quickly, and then returned to his sentinel position by the highway. Days turned into weeks, and the subtle ritual continued. James, with his quiet patience, was slowly chipping away at the wall Charlie had built around his heart. One day, James decided to try something different. He brought out a well-worn tennis ball, its yellow fuzz dulled with age. He crouched down a safe distance from Charlie, rolled the ball gently, and waited. The dog watched him, head cocked, a hint of curiosity flickering in his eyes. He didn't move. James rolled the ball again, this time a little closer. Still no reaction. On the third roll, the ball landed inches from Charlie's paw. A hesitant sniff, a slow, deliberate nudge with his nose, and finally, he picked it up. A small, hesitant wag of the tail. A victory for James. From then on, their interaction grew. James would come over during his breaks, always careful not to overwhelm the dog. They played fetch, the tennis ball a constant bridge between them. He learned that Charlie loved ear scratches and whispered words of encouragement. He learned that Charlie's eyes held a profound sadness, a silent yearning. Then, one rainy afternoon, Mrs. Henderson, a frail woman with eyes as old as the highway itself, came into the gas station. She had lived in the old farmhouse down the road, she told James, for as long as she could remember. She had known the couple who once owned Charlie. James's heart pounded as he listened. He learned of the young couple, their zest for life, their love for each other, and of course, for Charlie. He heard about the tragic accident 4 years ago, a devastating collision that had ripped their lives away, leaving behind only a heartbroken dog waiting by the road. Mrs. Henderson explained, that poor dog, he's been waiting for them to come back. He doesn't understand. The weight of Mrs. Henderson's words settled heavily on James. He looked at Charlie, still sitting patiently by the highway, watching the cars speed by, his eyes searching for faces that would never appear. It hit James like a punch to the gut. He understood now. He understood the silent vigil, the unwavering loyalty. James went home that night, his mind racing. He couldn't bear the thought of Charlie waiting any longer for a reunion that would never happen. He had to find a way to help him move on. The next morning, he loaded Charlie into his old truck. Charlie, surprisingly compliant, seemed to sense a change. James drove them to the small cemetery on the outskirts of town, the one Mrs. Henderson had mentioned was the final resting place for Charlie's owners. They arrived at a quiet corner, marked by 2 simple headstones, their names etched into the stone, surrounded by wilting flowers. James unclipped the leash and watched as Charlie cautiously approached the graves. He sniffed the cool, damp grass, his tail now still. He walked around the headstones, his nose touching the cold, hard granite. Then, he lay down between them, a low, mournful whimper escaping his throat. James watched, his own heart aching. He knew this was painful, but it was necessary. Charlie spent a long time there, finally allowing the sorrow to wash over him. He finally allowed himself to understand. That night, Charlie slept soundly on a soft dog bed in James's living room.